This is how to use the Motion Pro chain tool with a real life example as I upgrade to a lighter 520 chain. All right, this is the actual chain tool. And when you open the case, as it comes from the factory, it's set for brake. And the way that you know is you can see that the B right there is oriented like brake. If you wanted it on one of the rivet or the press, you rotate that piece until the P or the R shows up vertically like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is back out the extractor bolt, and then you can also back out the body bolt, and then you get this little block here. Now, if we're going to break the chain, what we'll want is to put the handle in this hole. That allows us to grip and control it. We want to back out the extractor bolt enough so that underneath in here, that extractor pin is about 3 to 4 millimeters retracted inside the body bolt. We back that up. We put the block in there with the B for brake. Make sure it fits down in there. And then what we're going to do is, see that hole in there? We're going to use the extractor pin to come through and push the pin from the chain through this. So I'm just going to pick one to break, and I'm going to turn the body bolt in. Now by hanging onto this handle and using the 17 here, I'm going to get it tight, not terribly tight, just snug. Then I'm going to start turning the extractor bolt in. And what that's going to do is turn that pin inside against that rivet pin and out the other side. All right, so I feel it get really loose right there. So I assume it's all the way out, but you want to make sure you push the pin all the way through the other side. Then back this guy out. Oh, oops. Uh-oh. What you have to be careful of is in that body bolt is an extractor pin. But you need a spring in there too, which that's why it just jumped out at me. So you have to take the extractor pin and put it in the spring, drop it down, and then you can start screwing this in place. So technically, as you turn this in, it's pushing that extractor pin against that spring inside. But if you take this all the way out, then that stuff will spring out at you. So be careful of that. And the kit does come with an extra extractor pin in case you break one, so you just change that out the same way if you get in trouble. And there's the pin that came out of the chain. And as you can see, now our chain is broke. Now to install the master link. All right, so what you get in your little master link kit is that piece, the cover plate, you have 4 fresh O-rings, and then the grease to use on the O-rings. Some grease on the fingers. There's one O-ring. Put it on the inside. Grease on the second O-ring. And put it on the inside. And there's writing on it. We want the writing to be up. That master link through. We've got our 2 O-rings here. Now we want to put the other 2 O-rings on those. One there. And one there. And then you put the plate here. Okay. Now we get our tool again, and this time we want to press. So we take our little block out, so we get it to where our P is visible for press up there. It even tells you it goes up here, not in the bottom this time. But we're going to tighten the body bolt to use that to squeeze those guys together. Now the trick is you have to make sure that you're getting it put on straight so that the little pins can poke into that void. Looks like it's aligned okay. Gonna put some muscle into it. Then you want to try to look and make sure that you're getting about the same gap in each of the O-ring spaces you do on the link above it. Right. Okay. Now we'll back it off. All right, now we want to rivet. So we're going to get our block out here. We're going to get the R. So now we have our R for rivet. It goes there. Now these are hollow pins. So I'm going to use this kind of peening ball end here. And you basically put that up there. So what you're doing is you're going to flare out the end of that pin. The pin without being peened is 5.04 millimeters. These being peened are 5.64 millimeters. So it's about 0.6 millimeter flare is kind of what we want. You absolutely do not want to overdo it, especially if you see any cracks around there, then you need to scrap it and do a new one. Back off the body bolt enough. Dead nut centered in there. Peening it a little bit. Okay, and then let's back off and see how it is. Now it measures 5.51. We'd like to be 5.64. So let's give it a little bit more. 5.62. Okay, so that's within 0.02 of a millimeter. So that one I like. Now time to do the other one. And 5.64, so dead nuts. And that's how you use a motorcycle chain tool.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel below and let's celebrate turning fuel and air into adrenaline.